Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Outgrow's Marketer of the Month. I'm your host, Dr. Johan Lievens, and for this month, we're going to interview Mike Lieberman. Thanks for joining us, Mike.
It's my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
So, Mike, we're gonna start with a rapid fire round just to break the ice. In this round, you get 3 passes. In case you don't want to answer the question, you can just say pass, but it's a rapid fire, so try to keep your answers to 1 word or 1 sentence only.
Okay.
At what age do you want to retire?
3 years from now.
How long does it take you to get ready in the mornings?
About a half an hour.
If you could relive one specific moment of your life, which moment would you pick?
Wow, that's a good one. Relive a moment of my life. My wedding.
Your wedding. What is one thing you regret spending money on?
I regret spending money on things I have to return.
If you could be transformed into one animal, which one animal would you choose?
An owl.
Fill in the blank. An upcoming marketing or sales trend is?
Leaning on first-party data.
Who is your favorite Disney character?
Well, Disney has many characters now. But if you're going kind of historically, I'm going to go with Pluto.
The city in which the best kiss of your life happened.
Oh my God. I'll have to go with Philadelphia to keep my wife happy.
What are you most looking forward to?
I am most looking forward to continuing to watch my kids grow up.
Pick one, Mark Zuckerberg or Elon Musk?
Mark Zuckerberg.
Which element of your current life would your 12-year-old self think of as cool?
That I own my own business.
The biggest mistake of your career?
Not starting my business sooner.
How do you relax?
I watch a lot of TV.
How many cups of coffee do you drink per day?
Not too many, maybe 1.
And then the last one, what never fails to make you laugh?
Hanging out with my friends.
Okay, you survived and no passes used.
No passes. You can't pass on questions like that. They're all good.
Yeah, they're all good. You quite elegantly came up with an owl. That's your animal?
The owl has been my animal for a long time. I'm fascinated with birds, but I especially like owls because I feel like my personality directly relates to owls. I ask a lot of questions. I am very curious about things before I make up my mind and make a decision. So the owl has always been a animal that I'm particularly connected to.
Yeah, that's nice. Do you think it's present in your work? Because we'll be talking a bit about your work.
Well, I think it's present in that I like to collect a lot of information before I make a decision. And even in working with clients, I like to have a lot of data in front of me to give them a well-informed decision. So I do think it's related to what I do and what we do at Square 2, for sure.
Yeah. Like an owl has a nice overview, a nice collection of information before it.
Well, owls are wise, right? Owls, they're very aware of their surroundings, right? They're fierce yet majestic in their persona. So I don't know. I've always kind of like connected with that animal.
Yeah. Okay. Wonderful. And you said the trend you see is leaning on one-party data.
Correct. Yes.
Can you say a bit more?
Yeah, I sure can. I've noticed over the past couple of years, a lot of companies that we come in contact with are enamored by the idea of being able to buy a list and start marketing with someone else's list. And I've seen a lot of them run into a lot of trouble with that approach. We've done a lot of testing with that approach, and it hasn't produced positive results. And there have been a lot of conversations and a lot of information written over the past year or so that is talking about this the increased regulations, increased privacy, increased constraints that technology is putting on people who are purchasing data and leaning on that for their marketing, I'm extremely encouraged that we may be going back to a time when the inbound approach was a lot more prevalent, where you have to earn attention, you have to earn your audience, you have to get people to opt in to hear your story, and then you get the privilege of trying to convince them to come and do business with you. So when HubSpot launched inbound back in 2008, I was a very big fan of the inbound approach, and I was very bullish on the idea that this could potentially change the way marketers market, and it would become the de facto approach. Unfortunately, when the recession ended and people really got into inbound, they realized that it's hard work. They realized that it takes a long time. They realized that you have to keep feeding the content machine and constantly optimize the performance of all these things that you put in play. I think a lot of people got impatient. And like I said, when the recession ended and budgets opened up, people dumped money into paid advertising, into paid social, into buying lists and all these shortcuts that I think it's kind of coming full circle now that perhaps those shortcuts were not the best way to go. Had they continued to build out their inbound muscle, they would have been far, far, far ahead of the game today. And I'm encouraged that we might be getting back to more of an inbound approach to things.
Yeah. And you're mentioning that it's the legal interference with privacy laws and so on.
I think that's making it more complicated for sure. I'm finding more people falling into spam traps. I'm finding more people getting in trouble with their technology providers. I had somebody have their entire Google suite shut off because they were sending emails to people that hadn't requested them. So I just think it's going to get more and more complicated. It's going to get more and more more challenging to try to take that approach. And I would like to see people stop looking for shortcuts and lean into doing it the right way.
Yeah. Okay. Do you have examples of companies that are doing it the right way already that you think of, whoa, that's inspiring?
Well, I'd like to think the clients we work with are doing it the right way, but there are plenty of companies doing it the right way. Companies that are creating communities. HubSpot is always like the poster child for doing it the right way. They are leaning into this idea of their community and encouraging people in their community to sign in and sign on and accept their content, right? Like HubSpot drives a ton of leads from their academy, certification and training programs. So, that's a direct example of how someone that is, putting training materials out there and helping their community get smarter around a whole host of topics. And in exchange for that, they have people's contact information and they can now reach out to them and see if they're interested in buying products and services. So I think there are not enough companies doing it like that, but I think you'll see more and more people really leaning into that side of things.
Yeah. Yeah. You used the word privilege a bit earlier. It's like it creates a lot more respect in the relationship, almost.
It should. I spent most of my vacation unsubscribing from emails just because I hadn't done it in a long time. I was looking at my inbox. It was cluttered with all kinds of stuff from companies that I didn't ever do business with or hadn't done business with in a long time. So I just, as a New Year's resolution, started unsubscribing to things to see how I could really whittle my inbox down. And if people start doing that, it's going to be harder and harder to get in touch with people. You really have to earn my attention by providing me something of value. And when I'm looking at the email, and I'm like, do I want to hear from this company? Yes, I do. I respect what they have to say. There's value in those emails. I'm not unsubscribing. But the people that just keep emailing me and emailing me and emailing me, and I never open them up, or I don't find any value in what they're showing me, I've been unsubscribing. So yeah.
Okay. We're already deep in conversation now, but maybe can you take me back to how you started the field of marketing and sales, how you entered it? What's your background and where do you come from?
Sure. So you want to go way, way, way back, right? So I was a business major in college, nothing special. I had the fortune of going to a university that had a co-op program, which I don't know if you know what that is, but we worked 6 months and went to school for 6 months. And instead of being 4 years, it was 5 years. So I had 3 really solid jobs while I was in college, and pretty soon realized that I was a creative person. At one point, I thought I wanted to be an architect. That didn't really materialize, but I felt like marketing gave me a creative outlet in terms of the message and the story, and even some of the visual representations associated with marketing, branding, logos, websites, those kinds of things. And I had one job. I worked in a sales organization, kind of helping the sales team, and I was very excited with what was going on in sales. They were like the fun people in the company, and they were having good successes. And I saw right away that the company was very respectful of the sales team, and in some cases maybe even kowtowed to them because they were making it rain to some extent. I was fascinated by that. My second job was in the MIS department of a bank. And I was like, this is horrible. I can't wait to get out of here. I know this is absolutely not what I want to do. So, those co-op programs are helpful to find out what you don't want to do just as much as you do want to do. And my last job, I worked for a regional, I guess I would call it like a regional, like chamber of commerce, but I was doing their email marketing. I was doing their newsletters. I was helping them with their events. And that was really kind of where I realized, like, yeah, this is pretty cool. I can help sales. I can help the company grow by helping tell their story. And from there, it was really like, I'm a lifelong marketer. My first job out of college, I was a marketing director for Dun & Bradstreet, which is a big information services company. And then I went to work for a travel management company, also in marketing. And I've been in marketing my whole life. And I would say, luckily, my marketing jobs have always been very sales connected. So I never really found myself in like corporate marketing at headquarters where I was disconnected from what was going on in the field. A lot of my marketing jobs were always designed to support sales, which I always liked. The salespeople always liked me because I would ask them, well, what do I need to do to help you sell more? And no marketers ever asked them that. I would go on sales calls with them, and no marketers ever came on any calls with them. So I always had a really close connection to the sales team, and I think that formed my thinking around what marketing is supposed to do and how it fits into the overall ecosystem in the company. Mm-hmm. And then 20 years ago, I was in a corporate job. One of my lifelong friends said to me, like, he had an ad specialties business. I don't know if you know what that is or not, but they basically hats and T-shirts and stress balls and things with your logo on it. He said to me, like, my clients keep asking me for help with their marketing, and I know that's what you do. Would you be interested in helping them a little bit with their business? And I said something like, well, look, I have a good job. I'm not interested in a side job here, but if you have clients who are asking you for help, maybe there's an opportunity for us to start a business together. And that was the impetus for Square 2. We got together. We had some very specific things we wanted to do in the marketing space. We were huge fans still are huge fans of Seth Godin. So we were like, if we're going to create a company, it has to be remarkable. There has to be a free prize inside. We have to be a purple cow. So when we started, we were always looking for things that would make us different from the other agencies that were out there. And even in the very beginning, we were anti-advertising. That was kind of our position. And we worked mostly with small and medium-sized businesses, so they couldn't really afford advertising anyway. But we basically went in there and said, look, advertising is not right for you. You're a small company. You need to be more guerrilla. It needs to be more one-to-one. It needs to be more inbound, even though at the time inbound wasn't even a thing. We were running inbound campaigns 5 years before HubSpot even put a name on it. And the rest is history. These companies flocked to us because they didn't know what to do. We helped them. We did it all for them in the beginning. We even at one point delivered baskets to guests at a trade show because that's what the client asked us to do. And over the years, we kind of refined our approach and refined what the agency did and refined our story. And here we are today.
Yeah. You already said in the rapid fire, the thing you regret is not starting earlier.
I do.
Yeah. if you had, because it's this year is the 20th year anniversary of Square 2, right?
That's correct.
So if you had to give advice to the two of you starting 20 years ago, what one piece of advice would you love to send them teleportation wise back to the past?
Well, we've always kind of had this concept of trying to stay ahead of the competition, and I think what I would say to myself 20 years ago is don't ignore that. And I think in a few situations over the past 20 years, we got a little complacent. We thought we were, in a good spot, only to find out that we really should have been doing other things to propel the business forward and keep us ahead of the competition. So that's what I think I would say to me then is always be working to make the business better. I did have a mentor at one point who taught me create the business that could put you out of business. So I've used that phrase a number of times, but I don't think I used it enough over the past 20 years.
Yeah. So you can still use it more in the future as well, in the next 20 years.
Well, we're trying to get back around to that, but catching up is a lot harder than getting out ahead. So that's what's going on.
And if I turn the question, is there anything, well, there must be a lot, but if you have to pick one thing in 2003 that you were completely not aware that would happen in the next 20 years, what's the most surprising, astonishing thing that happened if you would look with the glasses of 20 years ago?
You want me to look back 20 years and think about what? Ask me the question again. I'm sorry. That was a little confusing.
No worries at all. If you take me into the shoes of the you of 20 years ago, the Mike Lieberman of 2003, he's looking into the future. He sees the horizon, but doesn't know what is coming. What has happened in those 20 years that was most surprising, most unexpected, most inspiring for that Mike Lieberman of 2003?
I think the impact of technology on our space is something that I didn't realize until HubSpot introduced it in 2008, 2009. I think being more aware of that and the impact it would have on what we do and how people think about marketing and sales would have been good to know earlier. Not that I think I would have created the HubSpot, a HubSpot company earlier than they did. I like being in the agency space. I'm not really interested in being in the software space, although I think it's a better business to be in than the agency space. But I like working very directly with companies and clients, and obviously software, you're a little more removed from the day-to-day with them. But I think understanding the impact technology was going to have would have helped us position the agency maybe a little differently sooner.
Yeah. Okay. If we dive into the specific things that you offer, you, for instance, have a revenue growth methodology model.
Yeah.
Can you describe that model that you and your partner have developed and how it has helped your clients in their sales and marketing efforts?
Yeah. So interestingly enough, most businesses are run on systems and processes, right? How you hire people, how you onboard new employees, how you pay your bills, how you evaluate the financial performance of the company, how you purchase a machine, right? Like many companies have these processes that they've established that they really lean on to keep the company running. And interestingly enough, when it comes to revenue, there is no system. There is no process. And companies around the world wonder, why is it so hard for us to hit our revenue goals? And I look at it and say, well, because you don't have a system. There's no process and methodology around how you go about doing that every single month. So I think Square 2's mission is to introduce a system to our clients, teach them the system, and in some cases, help them execute the system. In most cases, help them execute the system. They don't have the people, they don't have the expertise, they don't have the bandwidth to do it on their own. So we step in and help them do it. As opposed to other agencies who I feel like are kind of, what do you need help with? You need a new website? We'll build you a website. Okay, great. Now what? Oh, well, we want to send some emails out. Okay, we'll send you some email. We'll send some emails out for you. Oh, we need more presence on social. Okay, we'll do some social posts for you. I prefer to take more of a holistic approach to it with them. and find out what they're trying to do from a business perspective, we want to go from 10 to $15 million in revenue. Okay, let's break that down in a great degree of detail. How many new clients a month is that? What's your attrition rate? How much are each of these new clients worth? What am I starting with? Like, how many people are coming to your website now? And how many leads are you currently getting now? And how many of those leads are actually sales opportunities? And how many of those sales opportunities are actually getting closed? And at what percentage? So we apply a lot of data, and we build models for them. And then we understand the delta, right? So they're currently here, 1,000 people to their website, 2 new clients a month. They want 20 new clients a month. Okay, I know I need 10%, 100 times more people to the website. I need a much higher conversion rate. I need many more leads. I need to nurture those leads. I need to help their salespeople with the sales process and improve their close rate. And when you stack all those things up, you get a compounding factor that gets them to their 20 new clients a month. And with that kind of quantitative approach to it, we can then fill in the blanks. You need more people to your website? Great. We need to do more organic. We need to do more organic social. We need to do more influencer. We need to do more email. We need to do more backlinks. Whatever we need to do to get that visitor number up, we know exactly what the delta is and what we need to do. You need more leads? Great. We need to create more content. We need to post that content. We need to nurture those people after they convert. You're going to need technology. We need to apply, a layer of technology to all this because it's so much going on at the same time. One or 2 people can't possibly keep it all going. So how does the technology play into it? So we take a very holistic approach to it, and we have a strategy before tactics methodology as well, which succinctly means when I look at companies and their struggles, very rarely do I find that they have a good story or a compelling message. So we want to build that in for them too. Who are you trying to get in touch with? And what do you need to say to them that gets them emotionally engaged with your business? So what is your big story? Most B2B companies, which we're a B2B agency, most B2B companies feel like the big story and the message is a B2C thing, right? I don't need a good message. Nike needs a good message. I don't need a good story. Pepsi needs a good story. Well, no. You're trying to engage people just like they're trying to engage people. And the people are coming to your website, and those people need to hear something interesting about your business the first 10 seconds they land on your website. And right now you're telling them what you do, and no one cares. So you have to create this story that gets them interested and excited. You have to feed them with content that gets them engaged. And then when they're ready to talk to you, they will say, I'd like to speak to a sales rep because everything I've heard is so amazing, and you seem to really scratch my itch. And how do I work with you? That whole thinking is challenging for a lot of B2B business CEOs, business owners, and we really make that a specialty of ours.
Yeah. I hear you say that a good B2B business actually also approaches things like a B2C does, with more engagement, with more seduction almost of the potential clients. I
think the way people buy things, even in the B2B space, has changed so dramatically that the answer to your question is yes, 100%. If you look back 10 years, the way B2B worked was they hired a ton of salespeople. Those salespeople made a ton of calls, and eventually they uncovered an opportunity and they pursued it. Well, today, who are you calling? Where are you calling? Offices. People aren't even in offices anymore. They're working from their homes. They're working from Starbucks on their cell phones. So you can't visit them. You can't call them. Like, the world has changed from a general outreach perspective, and it has become a little more like the B2C model, where you have to be engaging your audience in a way in which they want to come back and engage with you, right? Now in B2B, it's, well, let me visit their website and let me see what's going on and let me get some information from them in exchange for my email address. With B2B, it's show up at the store and pick the product off the shelf. So there's a similar motion there, even though it's a different outcome.
Yeah. Okay. That's clear. We're talking a bit about sales enablement. That's kind of what you do and what you help companies with. To what extent do you agree with this statement? As sales facilitators, we are responsible for increasing pipeline generation, revenue, and customer engagement.
I agree 100% with that. I think there's a little more to that story than you've packaged up, and I think that the little more is those salespeople have to be talking to the right people, and getting them in front of the right people is marketing's job. So I view it as marketing handles the first 75% of the buyer journey, when people don't want to talk to a salesperson, because let's be honest, you don't want to talk to salespeople. I don't want to talk to salespeople until I'm ready to talk to a salesperson, right? And the world has kind of enabled us to work like that, right? Like, I want to buy something, I'm online, I'm researching it, I'm looking at a web, I'm looking at reviews, I'm talking to my friends. Hey, did you buy this? Have you had an experience with this? You go on Amazon, the first thing you do is look at all the reviews. If there's not 1,000 5-star reviews, you're on to the next product. So, the way we buy things is completely different. And in B2B, it's the same way. When I've exhausted all my resources and I'm still interested, and now I need to speak to someone because I have very specific questions I need answered to that I can't find on the website, I engage a salesperson. So I think that marketing has to do a good job leading up to that point where the buyer journey flips over to the sales team, and then they have to deliver a similar experience to that prospect the same way. Like, they can't sell them something. They can't try to convince them. They can't try to force them to do something. They have to continue the educational process. What are you looking for? What's going on in your business? How can I help you? What information can I provide you that's going to get you educated around this particular decision you're about to make? And what is it going to mean to your business to make a good, safe purchase decision here? And, let me be the trusted advisor. Let me be your Sherpa. Let me be your guide to coming out of this on the other end with a good decision based on everything going on in your company.
Yeah. We're touching upon a couple of challenges that the businesses that you work with face. If I'd ask you in a more general way, what are the most common challenges that businesses face in terms of marketing and sales, and how do you help them overcome them?
Right. There's probably two. Well, look, there's a lot, right? But if I have to start at the top, I would say one of the major challenges is just change. Like, we've never done it like this. I've never had a marketing company helping me do this. That's scary, right? Budget is another challenge. I see a lot of people who want to go from 0 leads to 100 leads a month, and they're willing to invest $2,000 a month. And I say to them, not happening. You have, caviar dreams and a tuna fish budget, and, you have to make a choice. You can either reset your expectations to go from 0 to 5 to start, 0 to 7 to start, not 0 to 100, or you have to invest more in it so we can do more to get you from 0 to 100. It's directly proportional to, how much you're willing to invest and work on something and what you expect to get out of it. I think those are two pretty big challenges. And the third one is patience and commitment to marketing. Today, people still view it as, I'm going to do this for a couple of months and see what happens. Not going to work. And I say to them, like, would you treat your finance like this? Like, I'm going to manage the finances of the company for a couple of months and then take a 3-month break because I don't want to do it anymore. Like, you would never do that.
Yeah.
You got to market every day. Every hour of every day that your company is alive, you have to be marketing it. And it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. So just because we start something today, don't expect it to produce, landslide results in 30 days. It might take you a year to get the kind of results you're expecting. And, I in all honesty, I'm not exactly sure how long it's going to take. And I tell them the story. If I was their doctor and they came to me and they said, Mike, I'm not feeling well. I said, okay. And I would diagnose them effectively. And I would say, okay, I know what's wrong with you. And here's your treatment plan. And they would say to me, well, Mike, when am I going to feel better? Honestly, I would have to say to them, I don't know. I mean, everybody responds to this treatment plan differently. I'm comfortable that this is the right plan. You might feel better tomorrow, in a month, or in 3 months. I don't know. But we will have to monitor that and make adjustments to your treatment plan accordingly as I start to dial it in based on your specific DNA and your specific behaviors and your, how you respond to the medication. Every person would be like, okay, that makes sense. But when it comes to marketing, they don't look at it the same way. right? They're like, what do you mean? You don't know? How come it's not going to happen tomorrow? Like, and unfortunately, there's a lot of people in my industry who are making big promises and not delivering on those promises and kind of poisoning the well a bit for people who are trying to be honest with people and give them the truth about what they're undertaking, which makes it a little more difficult.
If I stick a bit to your metaphor of medicine, do you often run into clients of which you think, yeah, this might be one with a terminal disease?
Yes.
We can try treatment, but no guarantees.
It's a great question, and I don't know that I would say terminal, but you know what I do run into a lot? I run into what I look at as potentially bad patients. So I'm going to say to you, take your medicine, exercise every day, stop eating fatty foods, and you're going to come back to me in a month and be like, Doc, I don't feel any better. And I'm going to say, well, have you done the things I've asked you to do? And you say no. And I say, well, that's why you don't feel better, right? So, clients who are not going to take our advice, clients that are not going to, invest properly, clients that are not going to be responsive. I do see those kinds of scenarios more frequently than I would like. And I'd like to think the agency as a whole is getting better at identifying these earlier and saying like, hey, you know what? I don't think you're going to be a good client for us. Let me recommend some other agencies that I think might be better suited for you and what you're trying to accomplish.
Yeah. But so I also hear some confidence in what you say. If a business is willing to commit, in most of the cases, maybe all cases, you can help them reach the goal.
I have 100% confidence that if people follow our plan and follow our advice and let us do what we have been doing for 20 years, I will be able to improve their business.
That's beautiful. That's a nice, confident message. Yeah. Is it possible to pick out some advice? What advice you'd have for small business owners who want to take their company to the next level? Is there anything that pops up?
Well, I think small business owners have a unique set of challenges because they are doing it all themselves, and what I would tell them is you have to do marketing also. Carve out a certain amount of time every week to work on it. Maybe 2 hours a week, 3 hours a week. It's not a lot if you schedule it as a reoccurring block of time that you commit to not stepping on. Then you will start to accomplish things. It will be slow because you're only putting a little bit of time into it and you're doing it yourself. But, just think about it. I made some improvements to my website this week. I sent out an email next week to prospects. I sent an email out to customers the third week. I upgraded all my social platforms the fourth week. Like if every month you're making 4, nice upgrades or 4 activities around marketing every single week, you are going to see movement in the right direction. Be patient. Don't give up. Look, I have a million of these metaphors, but it's like dieting, right? If you go on a crash diet and then go off it, you're going to gain your weight back probably more than you have before. But when you change your lifestyle and you eat healthy all the time and exercise, you will lose weight and you will keep it off. And it's kind of like that. You have to make a commitment to this part of your business and work on it every single week, and you will make progress.
Yeah. So you keep going back to diets and to sports. I've seen on your LinkedIn, on your personal page, you have a passion for physically challenging activities yourself. That's right?
I like to challenge myself. I don't do it as much as I used to, but yeah. I do like to do challenging kinds of activities for sure.
Yeah. Like what?
Well, I did a mini triathlon one time. I think it was a half a mile swim, 20-mile bike ride, 5-mile run. That was exciting. I did a very long bike ride from Pittsburgh to DC. So I just like doing those kinds of things. I'm an avid kayaker. And lately I've been playing a lot of pickleball. So I'm trying to get better at that.
What is pickleball?
Pickleball. You should Google it. It's the fastest growing sport in America. It's kind of if ping pong and tennis had a baby, it would be pickleball. So it's played on a smaller tennis court with a wiffle ball, like a plastic ball, and a small kind of bigger than ping pong, but smaller than tennis paddle.
Yeah. Okay. I'm still in the previous hype. I'm still starting to play padel, so I'm still.
Yes. It's kind of similar to that. Yes.
Yeah. So you are a sportsman of some sorts.
Well, I like physical activity and I get bored easy. So just going on the treadmill every day and like doing a 5 mile treadmill run is not for me. I like the treadmill, I like the Peloton, I like going outside, I like playing pickleball. Like I try to have as much diverse physical activity as possible because I tend to get bored easy.
Yeah. How do these physical activities relate to your work in marketing and business strategy?
Well, like I said, I feel like there's a lot there with dieting and just physical health in general, right? Like, unfortunately, too many people look at marketing as this thing I'm going to do this year instead of this behavior the company has to have every day. So that's why I try to relate it to that. Like the weight loss industry is a mega $billion industry for one reason and one reason only. People pay to diet, go off of it, gain the weight back again, and then go back to paying for their shortcut. And it never works. And the industry is banking on that because of human nature. We can't stick to anything. We can't really change our habits. So we do these diets, we lose weight, we're happy, but then we go off the diet because we're happy, we gain the weight back on, we're back on another diet. I think if people would just eat healthy and exercise every single day or, lots of times during the week, we would all be healthier. Like, watch what you put in your mouth and make sure you're getting some decent exercise all the time. You're going to lose weight. You're going to be healthy. You won't need a special diet that you're paying for. So, a lot of that feels very similar to what goes on in marketing. I need to hire someone. It's an emergency. We must generate more leads. And then that doesn't work out and they fire them and then they stop and nothing happens for 6 months and they wonder why their business isn't growing, or they buy a piece of technology. Well, someone told me this technology was going to help me generate more leads. Well, no, the technology is a hammer. If you don't know how to use the hammer, you can't build a house. So, you still need someone to help you use the technology to help you generate leads and grow your business. So one thing that you buy is generally not going to satisfy this for you from a long-term strategic perspective. And I just wish more people looked at marketing like they look at finance, like they look at operations, like they look at HR and procurement, all these other areas that companies have, professional teams associated with them and systems and processes and established organizations. And marketing always feels like, who wants to do marketing? Okay, John, you're not doing much else. You're the new marketing guy at the company. Like, good luck, right? Like, that happens way too frequently, especially at small businesses. Like, we do a lot of public speaking, and when the group gets together, we ask them, how many people have a marketing person? Hardly anyone raises their hands. We say, how many people have half a marketing person? Everyone raises their hands because they took the office admin and said, hey, you're also now the marketing person. Like, go get me more leads. Like, not going to work. So it's challenging to break that paradigm for sure.
Yeah. But so in that comparison, for you, it also means the service you provide to a good client is a service that helps them to fly solo so that they don't come back for, please give me another trick and another trick and another trick. You help them fly.
That is correct. We like to say we teach them to fish. We like to say that eventually they will fly from the nest and do it on their own. Some clients are successful in taking it in-house and doing it on their own. Other clients sometimes come back to us and say, hey, you know what, you did get us set up and we made some progress, but when we tried to do it ourselves, we were not as successful and we would just like you to help us with this. So, and I'm okay with that. But I do like that we're not just getting them addicted to crack, but trying to teach them something and trying to get them in a situation where they can run their own sustainable lead generation effort on their own.
Yeah. Your personal mantra, according to your LinkedIn, is be bold and mighty forces will follow. How do you apply that in your professional and personal endeavors?
Yeah, so, one of the core values at Square 2 is no fluff, which basically is like be direct and tell people what you think. All the times that I have been bold in situations where maybe it would have seemed more obvious to be more passive, I've been rewarded. So with clients, I'm like, look, this is not the right thing to do. Obviously, it's your business. Do what you want. But my strong recommendation is don't do this, right? So that would be an example of how I might be bold with them. And, when they take our advice, they are generally rewarded, and so are we, right? So I think in a lot of situations, I have been rewarded many more times than burned by being bold, and mighty forces follow. I think people appreciate you when you're bold and you're telling them what you think. I am probably not everybody's cup of tea in terms of like the people I run into. Some people probably find me arrogant or aloof, if they don't know me really well. I think the people that have gotten to know me realize I'm not those things, but on the surface, it might look like I could be like that. But I tend to try to follow that as best I possibly can.
Yeah. We're at our last question, and that's a bit of a personal question. What would you be doing in your life if not this?
It's a really good question, and I have changed that answer a number of times over the past couple of years. But I think if I was doing something different, I would be a chef at a really nice gastropub.
Yes.
Yes. I don't want to do fine dining, but I do want to make fun food that people really love, comfort food that people are really happy to eat and happy to talk about. And I think that would be very satisfying to me to be giving people that really, really cool culinary experience.
Yeah. A facilitator of connection.
I guess so. Sure.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks. Thank you, Mike. Thanks, everyone, for joining us for this month's episodes of Outgrow's Marketer of the Month. That was Mike Lieberman. Check out square2marketing.com for more details about their work. And we'll see you once again next month with another Marketer of the Month. Thank you, Mike.
Oh, thanks for having me. This was great. Appreciate it.